We are back in the desert for Game 4. Right now, the Denver Nuggets lead the series over the Phoenix Suns 2-1. We are looking for a rally in the valley in a different way.
That's their logo.
That's their
playoff
from? Slogan.
Yeah.
Rally in the valley. Well, the Nuggets are looking to rally in the valley and steal this one in Phoenix. How do they do it?
How does Denver go and steal it? I think you just got to slow down two guys. I was on the pregame show with Altitude Radio, and they said, okay, what's the scenario the Phoenix can win? I said, if Durant and Booker score 85 points. They scored 86. So you got to slow those guys down a little bit. You had one quarter, really, where you didn't play playoff basketball. You allowed 36 in the second, and you only scored 21. If you're going to have a bad defensive performing quarter and give up 36, 37, you got to follow with like 31, 32 also. Stay there connected. They didn't stay connected the second quarter. And other than that, I mean, it was a close game with 2 minutes to go.
All right, this is the Nuggets pregame show on YouTube Live, brought to you by UC Health. Katie Wingy and Scott Hastings getting you ready for this matchup. There's so much to talk about ahead of this one. Devin Booker coming off a massive, massive performance in Phoenix. And you mentioned Katie and Book, they have to be great in order for Phoenix to win. What did Booker do in that Game 3 that the Nuggets really need to limit? Well,
made a lot of shots. He's the king of the in-between game, the old school jump shot from 15 foot, and he was absolutely on. I thought he benefited a lot. Whenever Denver got into a drop, he was crushing him. Whenever Denver got up and pressured him, I think you got to make Devin Booker a passer. A, I don't think he likes it. And B, I don't know if he's a great passer in traffic. But one-on-one, it didn't matter if it's Gordon right there. He's going to go right by. If it's KCP, I'm just going to shoot over the top of you. He was kind of busting a whole lot of guys. There's another just too easy drive. But you see Joker is using the help. He's all the way in the paint. That's too late for a guy who's as good of a mid-range jumper as there is in the league.
Phoenix had 23 fast break points against the Nuggets in that third game, and that's really, to me, where they can limit Booker's opportunity. In that Game 3, they let him get going in transition. They let him go coast to coast. They gave him open three-point looks on the wing. How important will it be to get back in transition to limit the fast break opportunity?
Well, it seemed like of their first 12 points, 7 of them were in transition. They got out quick on Denver, and I thought Denver a little bit napping just a little bit. I think Denver's going to have an entirely different mindset. That's first and foremost. The way you also slow down other teams' transition is they don't turn the ball over. They had a lot of turnovers early, kind of got a little bit under control late, but they lost that game. But you got to get on the offensive glass. And if you're putting the ball in and they're having to take it out, now you're getting more time to run back. I just thought Denver was stuck early on the game, kind of in between everywhere. I always related to when I played high school tennis. The one thing my tennis coach always told me, you don't want to have to live at the mid volley. He said either go all the way to the net or all the way back to the baseline. But if you kind of get stuck in that halfway part, am I helping on defense or am I playing back? Am I, running and taking a drive? There was one layup. Jamal was with him. He stopped at the three-point line and peeled out to half court, and the guy just went right over his head. That's kind of awareness of the situation also.
I need to just take a step back for a quick second. You played high school tennis?
Oh, yeah.
I did not know this about you.
Went to the state tournament.
Singles or doubles?
I am a very fat shell of a man who used to be an athlete. I went to state in doubles. That was doubles.
That's impressive.
Lost in state 6-2, 6-2, and the only 4 wins we had were all on my serve. I had a mean serve.
Hey, well, we'll have to demonstrate that someday.
Oh, well, you come over the top and you kick it into them,
sure.
or just a flat, hard serve,
Nuggets fans, if you have any questions for Scott Hastings about his tennis career or about the game tonight, feel free to put them in the comments here on this YouTube Live presented by UC Health. We'll get to as many as we can for the next 15 minutes or so. You mentioned the Nuggets mentality, Scotty, and I'm curious, if you were to get inside their heads right now, what are you thinking that they're thinking approaching this game?
Well, listen, someone said a long time ago that a series never starts until someone loses at home. You still got an opportunity to lose one at home. Here's the only thing that's great, if you will, about the regular season. If you never lose a home game in the playoffs, you're going to the NBA Finals. All right? So you've got that in your back pocket. Don't lose a home game, NBA Finals. It's right there in front of you. Get rest. You got to win some road games.
Nikola Jokic getting warmed up for this game. He was tremendous in that last game. Really has had two great games for the Denver Nuggets. 30, 17, and 17 was his stat line. He was all over the place. Where do you really need to see him thrive in order for the Nuggets to be successful tonight?
You got to keep seeing his numbers go from the assist range, too. And it's amazing that he did what he did with the assist, considering how poorly, especially late, the Jamal shot, or how poorly, Gordon was kind of just a spectator for a lot of the game. KCP wasn't super active. So you got to make sure you got guys. Remember the one game they played so well in? You had 6 guys at double figures, and they got to keep rolling with that and make sure they've got a whole bunch of people active. If they're not going to double him, let him go get his. But everybody's got to be ready when their opportunity comes. 17
of the Nuggets' 27 assists he had. Your center had.
Well, and everybody else is a whole lot dribbling, right? And there was especially time, I think, in that second unit, or maybe in the second quarter, second unit kind of bogged down offensively. And I thought a lot of guys standing around just kind of watching and waiting to see what's going to happen. You got to keep in motion. You got to play fast. See if you agree with this. I thought Phoenix played faster than Denver last game. And Denver plays best when they play fast. And I didn't think they got into really that third quarter.
Well, they talked about that, too, post-game. Coach Malone mentioned it. And with no Chris Paul is out again tonight for Phoenix. Cameron Payne is able to push the pace a little bit more, it seems like. There were a couple early on. You mentioned them getting out and running in the first quarter. He took it coast to coast and was fast. I don't think the Nuggets were ready for that. They'll be ready for that tonight.
Well, they'll be ready for that. There's no surprise now. Everybody who's going to play in this series probably has played in this series. So there's not going to be any surprise of a new guy and what do they like to do. But, listen, you can't let Booker have 47. Think about this. If he has 40, which is a great game, you're going into overtime. If he has 39, which is a great game, you win the game. So they got to find a way somehow, some way to kind of limit what he did. He can't get comfortable tonight.
Do you think that last game was close to the Suns' best effort?
From two guys, you're absolutely sure. I mean, they just didn't have an answer for Booker. He was making his shots. You can't get out there late on him. If you get out there late on him, he's going to get you. If you kind of just come out there flat-footed or whatever, he's going to go around you. And as we said, he's still one of the best mid-range guys. I thought he was in attack mode, and you got to get to him early, see if you can get him out of attack mode.
A couple questions from this YouTube Live presented by UC Health.
We win every time there's a drum line around, by the way.
I was going to say, I know it doesn't probably come through the microphones, but you guys, the drum line is here and getting ready and walking through the arena, really setting the tone, getting us ready. Will we see Peyton Watson this series?
Not unless it's a bad blowout, I don't think. I think if the opportunity was going to come, you might have seen a quick decision, put him in just for a second in that last game. But I don't think you will. Peyton's future's in front of him. Let's hope that they can, Denver can win this game in a blowout fashion and maybe gets some minutes.
The last two regular season games in Phoenix, we saw Peyton Watson because the Nuggets were resting majority of their starters in that game, and he did a pretty good job on Kevin Durant, but I don't know if you feel this way. I feel like the Nuggets have done a decent job on KD. They've been contesting his shots, limiting to mid-range. He's going to make baskets. It's what he does. The only thing they did in Game 3 that they haven't done is fouled him. They sent him to the free throw line.
Yeah, the scary thing for me is he has not shot a good percentage, so you got to believe there's going to be a game he's going to blow up like Booker did last game and make a lot of shots. If both of them make a lot of shots, you're in for a long night because, as we saw, they scored 86 of their 121 points last game, and I really didn't think a whole lot of other guys bothered you much. You got to get in there chilly. You got to make sure he's working on that because he knows that people get in front of him, he's going to struggle dribbling the basketball. So he's trying to get some extra work in dribbling the basketball. But they just – Michael Malone says it a million times throughout the season – Denver's got to make Phoenix feel them tonight. Booker didn't feel anybody the other night. And Kevin didn't shoot the ball well. But I'm sure he felt everybody either.
Yeah, 12 of 31. Kevin Durant was from the field in the last game. Booker was 20 of 25, which is just ridiculous efficiency. The Nuggets have to make things a little bit tougher for Devin Booker tonight.
You got to keep him, as you said, got to keep him on the foul line. Yep. I mean, you got decimated at the foul line, attempts for them, attempts for you.
Mason would like to know, do you think the Nuggets need to win tonight?
No, because I said a while ago, your regular season, as long as you don't lose at home. Mason, if you guarantee me they'll never lose a home game, then we're going to go to the finals. And that's what you play the regular season for. That being said, the grind to the championship is when you can get done with the series quick, get done with the series quick. And listen, I know it looked nice those first two games, but this is a very, very good team. And this is a team a lot of people expected to win a championship once they made that trade. So this is a good team. But if you can get done quick, get done quick. So that means win tonight.
What can you say about, we just saw KCP warming up a little bit there, about his defensive contributions in this series so far?
Got to play better than he did in the second game. I thought he was solid in the first two at home. I thought he struggled a little bit last night, and I don't know if maybe you just kind of take it for granted that Booker's going to keep missing or whoever's going to keep missing. But in game two, and really in game one, he was outstanding. He's got to get back to the outstanding. They have to have KC be a dual threat. He's got to get you 10 to 14 points somewhere on the offensive end, and he's got to be down there affecting plays defensively also. But he's one of the handful of guys that can affect the game. Not in giant number ways, but in effectiveness, action, energy ways. And I really didn't think he did that in game three defensively.
Yeah, he's got to get up and book a little bit more. And if the Nuggets are switching, they've shown signs of great versatility. Everybody's got to have that same type of mentality. Leroy would like to know, how do the Nuggets match the Suns' speed? We've talked about this a little bit, but they're going to come out and try and play fast again.
Yeah, they wanted to run, and they were one of the high scorers in that first round of the playoffs. We could show right here. If I stand in front of you, you can't run past me. Like a little bit, get a little prime time going a little bit. I'm going to stay in front of you. I slow you down. I'm going to go. I make you take a step left or right. And if it's a fast break and your basket's there, if I make you take a step to the outside of me, now that's going to be a hard pass to get to you, and it slows you down. Playing fast isn't just running, although they crushed Denver on the transition. I thought they did everything fast. They cut fast, they moved fast, and I thought Denver, in really just one quarter, got I don't see the word complacent. They got stuck in molasses a little bit, and they moved in slow motion. And listen, you lost the second quarter by 15 points. That's the entire ball game right there.
The Nuggets had been doing really, really well. I don't think they had lost a game throughout the playoffs when they out-rebounded their opponent. They did out-rebound the Suns in that last game. Coach Malone talks about this all the time. In order for you to be able to run, you have to defend and rebound to get an opportunity to push that pace.
Yeah, you got to stop people, right? Because they still shot over 50% too, and that's something you got to watch on. Yeah, you got to rebound. You can't give up second shots. They've been pretty good at it. Had game two when they got themselves in a little trouble, they gave up some offensive rebounds. So you gotta get back to one shot. There was 2 rebounds left. You've closed the gap to 2 or 3 points, maybe 1 point in that fourth quarter. Shots go up twice. Guards offensive player came in from the quarter, got the rebound, kept the thing alive. It ain't just Joker. It's not just Michael. It's not just Aaron. When you're on the floor, you got to be effective as a rebounder. Get it and go.
Let's talk about Michael, because he had 21 points and 12 rebounds in Game 3, 6 of 10 from the three-point line. Anthony asks, is MPJ due for a breakout game?
Yeah, that's a quiet 21.
Quiet 21.
I mean, that was a very quiet 21. Great fourth quarter. I need to see him with 8 points a quarter for 4 quarters. I need to see him not have, because again, he stopped, I think, what was he at halftime? 1 of 6 or something like that shooting. Need to get him hot from the start. Maybe some of the concentration defensively flies to him. Maybe that helps Murray. Maybe that helps Joker. Maybe that helps KCP. But they got to get him going early and then continue with it. Can't just give me a spurt and we'll see you next game.
Coach Malone addressed the media before this game just a couple minutes ago. Let's hear from him in his press conference.
Coach, you talked about not letting other guys beat you outside of Booker and Kevin. And when they score 86 points, obviously they're going to score. But what are things you're like, we can't give them that shot, or we can't give them that in transition?
Well, I think last game, Booker had 15 points in transition. We can't give him. I mean, it's hard enough to guard in the half court. So you look at last game, but even just overall in the series, I think he scored 109 points this series. Devin Booker has, and 27 of those have come in transition. 23 have come in ISOs. He's going to make tough shots, but I felt we gave him way too many easy ones. And if you're going to try to stop a great scorer, you can't give him 18 in the first quarter where he wasn't touched. He didn't feel us at all. So, he's a hell of a talent, but we have to make his job as hard as possible, give him different looks, and just be a hell of a lot more aggressive and physical.
Coach, you guys have had great success in the playoffs with some of those small ball, bench-heavy lineups. What do you feel like you guys didn't do effectively with those groups in Game 3?
Well, I think the key stretch was the end of that third quarter where we'd gotten back in the game, played great in that quarter. But the end of the third, start of the fourth was a 14-0 run. And most of that coincided with Nikola being on the bench. And that's the first time in 8 playoff games this season that we've had that, really struggle when Nikola was on the bench. So what didn't we do? We didn't guard and we didn't score.
So let me get your opinion on that, Scotty, because Coach Malone was just talking about how the Nuggets had found success running that small ball lineup in the non-Jokic minutes in the playoffs, except for in that last game. Maybe what went wrong and how does that group get back on track to allow Joker a little bit more rest?
Well, it goes back to what our conversation was a while ago, and we said that second unit, that second quarter, I thought really struggled. They were better in the second half, but I thought they didn't slow anybody down. The success of the small ball is you've got to be able to score a little bit. I'm a score guy, but you got to stop. They didn't stop. They went 4 straight possessions where they allowed Phoenix to score, and they didn't get a shot, but on one of those, I think they had 3 turnovers. So you got to stop the other team. You got to make it tough on them. I didn't think the unit came out. The second unit came out and said, just forget you. I don't care who you are. This is who we are. And I didn't think they came out with that attitude in that second quarter.
Yeah, and the Nuggets have constantly talked about how that second unit, part of their identity is we've got that dog in us. We want to come out, we want to fight, we want to leave it all on the floor.
Well, and they didn't have that. I didn't think in the second quarter. You're sitting down closer than I am to the game. I thought they were comfortable. They played like pros. And you got to play like dogs, man. You got to play angry all the time. It's really kind of a benefit when you're a bench person. Everybody says, well, that's so hard because playing against better players, yeah, but you're playing smaller minutes. And the NBA says Katie gets 45 minutes a game. She only gets 6 fouls. Scotty gets 12 minutes a game. Scotty gets 6 fouls. So when you can't be worried about that stuff. You can't give an inch when you're a bench team coming in or a second unit coming in to play. Taylor's pet fly. Taylor, you let your pet fly get in here.
What's happening here?
Wearing the same outfit she wore the other day. That's what's wrong.
What are you expecting from Jamal Murray in terms of maybe a bounce back game? He had a great first quarter. How does he keep that consistently on the floor for the Nuggets?
I'm just going to throw this out there. I think they're going to watch his minutes early. I thought he looked tired in the second half, and I thought he looked a little tired in the second half of that second game also. He was great in the first half, I thought. So I think they may watch it just a little bit to see if they can make sure that he's got enough to bring to the table in the fourth quarter. Because that was like one of the first 4 quarters. I thought he was just gone. I thought he was just absolutely fatigued.
One of the things that Coach Malone talked about after the game was he does his job when he's able to pull 2 defenders onto him in that 2-man game, and that's when he can give it up and get it back or find a teammate for an open look. And just based off of that, too, Michael Porter Jr. plays better, KCP plays better. The whole Nuggets offense becomes a little bit more expansive and tougher to guard.
Well, the Phoenix Sun knows that Jamal wants to get in there. If he gets traffic, he's going to turn around. I thought early in the game he got in the rim. Second half, he didn't. I think that was a little bit of fatigue. Also talking to one of their assistant coaches after that game, they felt like the pocket pass was open a lot. So there's Dumbo behind us, but all of a sudden I come in here. I got to make that pass so many times that now all of a sudden they take me for granted. That opens it back up for me.
Hopefully we all have something to smile about. Like
that's what you get when you visit Italy right there. Is
after this Game 4 here in Phoenix. We've got you covered all night long on Altitude TV. Turn on your TVs right now. In about 10 minutes, we will have Nuggets courtside.
You got to work with him.
For an hour. I know I do. And then after the game, we have the Locker Room Report, an hour post-game show at the very least with interviews from players with Coach Malone. All of that will be coming to you on Altitude TV, so be sure to join us for that. Do you have anything you want to say for yourself?
You can't talk with him, T10.
So gross. We don't want you guys to have to look at this any longer. So thanks for joining us on this Nuggets YouTube Live presented by UC Health. Let's get ready for Game 4.